Prairie Valley family, welcome to the weekly pastor's note. It's been really chilly lately, so I thought I'd light a fire to keep us all a little warm. So the purpose behind these weekly videos is to keep you in touch with what we're thinking about as a leadership. And so to guide our conversation for today, I want to remind you of the parable of the Good Samaritan. In the story, this guy's on a road. He gets attacked by a bunch of robbers who are leaving on the side of the road as if he's dead. 3 people come across his body. 2 pass by on the other side. 1 stops, tends his wounds, puts him on his donkey, and takes him off to an inn where he's well cared for. And Jesus' instruction is that we are to love our neighbors, meaning those that we come across who are in need. Can I suggest to you 3 groups of people that we need to care for in this season? The first is those who are affected by COVID. Those include our healthcare workers and those on the forefront of battling this disease. Those who are sick themselves. Those who are lonely and isolated, those who have lost their jobs, and those who are hungry. Can I invite you to reach out in whatever way you can to people you know of who are under any of those circumstances? I'd also ask you to keep the restrictions of level 3 lockdown. That means wearing a mask wherever you go. That means not visiting in each other's homes like many of you are doing. The point is, you may be fine, you may be young, you may be healthy, but the restrictions are there to protect the more vulnerable in our community, so older people like myself, but also those who have other conditions that make them vulnerable. So when you are visiting each other's homes, you possibly are carrying the virus that may impact someone else eventually who is vulnerable. It may cost them their lives, and so you are being irresponsible. So I am all for us getting out and about, but please follow the limits and the restrictions that are currently in place. The second group of people are those who are suffering under racism. Now, I know you want to shut off at this point. You've heard so much about it. It's all over the media, all over social media. There's a big uproar about it. We all have strong opinions about it. I understand that. But I want to say to you that if you're not aware of how some people are still suffering under systemic and personal racism, then you're not hanging out with some of the right people. The truth is, there are people in our own community that we've had conversations with that are deeply personally impacted by racism. They are amongst us. They worship with us on a Sunday morning. Can I ask you to be sensitive to that? Can I ask you to seek out those who may be victims of racism? And can I remind you that as Christians, God calls us to love, that our love shouts louder than our opinions. Can I say that again? Our love needs to shout louder than our opinions. Then the third and last group of people may be a surprise to you, and that's our young people. I think that they're being more deeply impacted by the isolation than we think they are. You may be saying, but they're the internet generation. They live on social media. That may be true, but our observation is that our young people are really struggling in this time. Our young adults team, our teenage team, our kids' church team has been working really hard in the background to make resources available to our young people. Can I encourage you to make use of them? There are resources every week put on our website for our children, our kids' church. There are resources every week placed online for our teenagers. Use them. Go to our website, go to our Facebook page, sign in or register for our Flavored by Faith YouTube channel. Look at the weekly WhatsApp message that goes out as the connections to all the online protocols. On a Sunday morning, perhaps those of you who have children, log in at 9. Let them watch or follow or participate in the kids' church material. If you have teenagers, log in at 9:30 and let them watch the material provided for our teenagers. And then as a family, sit down at 10 o'clock and worship with us together. Let our young people be supported by our team. You may not have children. Pass on the resources to people that you know that are outside of our church that do have children or teenagers. Which leads to our last point, and it's a practicality. It starts off with an apology. Sorry that we haven't communicated so well about communion over the last 2 weeks. We have decided to once again do communion every Sunday. It just makes sense. It's easier communication-wise, and so from now on, every Sunday, we will share communion together with you. And so come prepared with your grape juice or wine and your bread to share in what is really a central sacrament of our Christian faith. I'm going to hand over to Candice, who's going to talk a bit about discipleship, and then to Linda, who's going to introduce our teenage leaders. Take care, and God bless.
By God's grace, we've all been given time, talents, and treasures. Different kinds, different amounts. And there's no time like this present crisis, where these skills, abilities, and resources are so desperately needed to keep this country going. Many of us hold down jobs, and that's great. We should do those to the best of our abilities. But we have more to offer. And there's no time like this present time that gives the church a unique opportunity to show Jesus' love to the world in practical ways by using these skills, abilities, and resources. At Easter, as we do every year, we read how after Jesus washed his disciples' feet, he gave us an instruction. In John 13:15 we read, "I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." This is Jesus' call to his people to serve. Serving isn't easy. It means getting involved in the messiness of life. It means getting involved in situations and problems where there are no easy solutions. But while serving might be messy, it's also the space where you'll experience God's presence most profoundly, while you're doing the most unspiritual things, like washing someone's feet. It's in those moments where you'll hear the Spirit say, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
My name is Linda, and I'd like to introduce you to a new generation of youth leaders that we're growing at Protea Valley Church.
I've also experienced God through using my talents to sing in the church worship band. Learning all the words and what they really meant to me was an awesome experience. God has always really been there for me, no matter where I was or no matter what I was doing or what path I'm on. This is really why I believe.
The biggest challenge was going to high school. So many questions and doubts filled my mind. And when you go to high school, you meet so many people who openly share their beliefs. But during this time, coming to church and going to youth was the most amazing blessing because I could ask my questions and get my answers. So I learned so much.
It really helped when I got to high school and I went to youth, and my faith grew stronger. Then when I became a leader, it became stronger still. And then what especially helped was the Connect groups and the Alpha program, and that I found really solidified my faith.
So I was only reading grade 8 when I went to youth, and I kind of had this space where I could question my faith and say, do I really want this? And through asking these hard questions, I found answers to. I was able to decide that I really did want this faith, and it was something that I chose to do.
When I went to Rondebosch in grade 8, that was probably when it started getting a bit confusing for me. Everyone knew I was the pastor's kid and they couldn't stop asking me questions. It did test me. Surrounded with some good friends like Timothy Green, Nicholas Octor. They kept me going, and I would say only recently I've really started to slow down and actually appreciate all this.
I just look at the world around us and I just see how absolutely perfectly it's structured. It's absolutely just the biology of everything, the biology of how we exist. It's just so fine-tuned and perfect that I can't help but think that there is someone behind it.